Today we will be solving the problem polynomials. This is from PY 2018 round 3 day 2. Here you are given a polynomial of the form a0, a1, x, a2, x square plus dot 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 an minus 1 into x to the power n minus 1. That is, effectively it has exactly n terms, and you have to evaluate the polynomials at all the points q to the power 1, q to the power 2 till q to the power n. So basically you are given an n degree polynomial and you have to calculate it at every nth power, or rather every ith power of q, where I varies from 1 to n. There are two special conditions that are also given here. First, n is a power of 2, and second, the remainder of q to the power n modulo m is 1. So essentially what we have to do is, instead of reporting the exact values, we have to report all the answers modulo m for some given m. M is not given to be a prime. For example, here in the test case we can see that m equal to 10 and so on and so forth. Now the constraints are pretty high. You have 2 to the power 20 in the worst case scenario. Well, what is the most obvious way? Well, you can just compute the polynomial using Horner's rule in order n time, but that will take you order n time for every point that you calculate. So that will take you n squared time overall. That is only enough to pass the first subtask. So we will try to solve this problem for the full 100 points. Now, for those who know about fast Fourier transforms and such, this problem is modeled in exactly the way how fast Fourier transform works. Let's say we are given the polynomial px equal to a0 plus a1x plus. So this is a degree 8 polynomial. So 8 is obviously a power of 2, and we are to evaluate this polynomial at the points q to the power I, and we are also given that q to the power n is equal to 1 modulo m. So henceforth everything that we do, just assume that we are taking modulo m everywhere. So the main idea of calculating a polynomial, a n degree polynomial at n different points, is to use divide and conquer in the following way. Usually when we use divide and conquer, we take the first few elements and then take the next few elements and then split them and try to calculate them. But here we will notice that even if we try to split them, we will anyway end up calculating for every coefficient. We will end up calculating it for every value of q to the power I. So it will not really help us, because still even then we are calculating for every coefficient, we are calculating it at n points. So overall n square calculations are needed. Instead, the divide and conquer that we will look for here is taking the odd powers and taking the even powers. So this, this, this and this, and then taking the even powers, or rather taking the odd powers here, and previously we had taken the even powers. Let me define a recursive function like this. So let me define evaluate. So evaluate takes in n, where n is a power of 2. It takes in the polynomial of degree n, and it returns. So it will return an array, let's say A, where A of I means we have evaluated the polynomial P at q to the power I, and I basically varies from 0 till n. So for our final answer, we were asked to calculate the polynomial for every point, right? So every point q to the power 1, q to the power 2, q to the power 3 up to q to the power n. So obviously q to the power n is the same as q to the power 0, right? Why? Well, q to the power n is just 1 notice that we are always doing it modulo m. So it is equal to 1, which is the same as q to the power 0. So effectively we are calculating q to the power 0 till q to the power n minus 1. That is why this kind of a bond. So our final answer is just A, the array A, when we call evaluate with whatever n we are given and whatever p we are given. This is the final array that we want to achieve, right? This is our final answer. Now, how can we make an implementation of this evaluate function so that it is faster than n square? So this is what we do. So in evaluate, we are, let's say, given n and p equal to that 8-degree polynomial, or rather in a general case n-degree polynomial, where here I have considered n equal to 8. Now we separate the stuff like this. So first let me write p. So now we essentially call the recursive function like this. We set A is equal to evaluate n by 2 comma another array. I'll call this array x and I'll call this as evaluate n by 2 y, where x and y are what? X is everything with the even terms. So the array x will contain these things, rather the polynomial x will contain these terms. So let me write it as a0 and the polynomial y we will write using the odd power terms. Why do we do this? Well, here is kind of the intuition. When we are writing px, we are essentially maintaining a vector of the coefficients. So instead of imagining it with the x components as well, just consider it like this: a0, a1, a2, so on till a7. Now similarly consider the polynomial x as well like this. So a0, a2, a4, a6. But this is not really x, right? Why? Because this will correspond to the polynomial a0 plus a2x plus a4x square plus a6x cube. But the powers are not the same, right? So what we essentially wanted to do was we make this x square. Okay. When I say that x of x square is equal to this vector, we mean that in place of x, plug in the value x square. So this becomes x square, this becomes x to the power 4, this becomes x to the power 6. Now this and this are equivalent. Okay. Similarly for y, if we just write y equal to x, then we just get a1, a3, a5, a7, which will again be written in the form a1 plus a3x plus a5 x square plus a7 x cube. But this is not we wanted, right? So here the trick is we write it as y of x square into x. So first we plug in x square for all these values. So this becomes x square, this becomes x to the power 4, this becomes x to the power 6, and then we multiply it by x. So it becomes a1x, a3x cube, a5x to the power 5 and a7x to the power 7. And again now we see that this is exactly equivalent to what we wanted here. So we can write p of x as x of x square plus x into y of x square. Now, what does this essentially mean? It means that when I want to calculate p of, let's say, q to the power I, then we are essentially calculating x to the power I, or rather q of I whole square plus q of I into y of q of I whole square. This is essentially what we are calculating. Now we kind of want to use this kind of a calculation here. So only with n and x, or rather only with n and this vector, we cannot convey all this information. So we add another field to the recursive function. The third field will be the value of q. So again, in our final answer, what did we want? We wanted to evaluate n comma p comma q, right? Whatever q we are given. Now what we can do is, we can say that this is somewhat equivalent to evaluate n comma x comma q square, and this is somewhat equal to, like, this portion is equivalent to evaluate n comma y comma again q square. So here we are getting the array A as the returned thing, here we are getting the array B as a returned thing, right? And my bad, this should be n by 2. Now for a moment, forget that these are n by 2 length arrays, like forget how we are calculating. Like if we still evaluated at all the q points, then we can combine these two arrays into the final answer array for this value as r of, let's say, A is equal to A of A plus A into B of A, rather A square for inside these things. Correct? Like this thing is completely parallel to this thing. Since p of x was written as this, when we are calculating for a particular I, the resultant value which is given by this R array, or whatever is returned by evaluate, that is your resultant array after calculating at all the q positions, right? So for that, this is exactly how we can calculate. Now here is the most interesting thing. Why does calculating at only n by 2 points suffice? Or rather, why does doing this suffice in a recursive fashion? Well, this is why. For R, we want to calculate at q to the 0, q to the 1, q to the 2. We want to calculate at all these things. What are the corresponding elements here that we want to calculate in? Well, here this corresponds to q to the 0, q square, and obviously since it is a square here, the same values will be here. Now the interesting thing is this, q to the power 8 equal to 1, this we know, it's given in the problem statement. That means this essentially becomes q to the power 0, this becomes q to the power 2, this becomes q to the power 4, and this becomes q to the power 6. And now we can write them as q square whole to the power 0, we can write this as q square whole to the power 1, similarly for this q square whole square, and this is q square whole cube. So notice that these values, that is q square 0, q square to the power 1, q square to the power 2, q square to the power 3, these are only 4 values essentially, right? So this is what actually happens when you are making the evaluate call on these smaller components. Not only is the coefficient array decreasing in half, right? we are only now evaluating at 4 for 4 coefficients, but the number of points at which you are evaluating is also getting halved, right? So you now just want to calculate from q to the power 0 till q to the power 3. Notice that q here is kind of q primed, where q primed is equal to q square. Since every time your entire things become half and half and half, the overall complexity becomes n log n. Why? Like, you compute each half separately and then you combine. For the combination step, it's just a linear pass that you do over all the values of q, and then you have the corresponding values of q here, and you find the answer in constant time. So every pass at this step takes order n time, and the complexity becomes n log n using a merge sort kind of logic. I'll show you the code in just a bit, but let me just reiterate why everything works in this way. Firstly, we divide our polynomial into two halves. The first half contains the even terms, the next half contains the odd terms. Now, instead of thinking about the powers of x as well in your polynomial, let's just think about the coefficient array for now. If we just think about the coefficient array, then we can recursively structure our polynomial into two portions, where we are passing in x square inside instead of just x. So this thing should make sense, where x and y are two different coefficients array we are derived here. This is the general form for any particular x. Here I have written that form only where we are evaluating at a particular value of x. So when the value of x is a, I am defining the array R of a to contain the value, basically R of a contains the value P of a. So this is how we had defined these things here. Now again, this is kind of the array that you can get once you call evaluate. Now the important thing is, it might seem that the length of the arrays here are only half of the actual length, right, because of the recursive function. So how can we calculate all the 8 values from only 4 values present here and here? Now the trick here is that when you actually see what is the a square thing that you are passing, you gather that there are only 4 distinct values of a square, which you can write in this form. So essentially, when you are sending it, or rather when you are calling this evaluate function, instead of passing q, you pass q square, so that your array now contains these values, and then you rebuild your answer using just this formula. Finally, our result is this here. The key point here was that q to the power n is equal to 1 mod m, and the second key point was the n is always a perfect power of 2, because if it were not, then such a divide and conquer would not have worked. Now let's just quickly look into the code portion. It is exactly how we had described it here. First we get nmq, we form our array, we take the input, and then we call calc. So calc, I pass in arr, I pass in n, and I pass in a q. Inside the calc function, n equal to 1 is the base case, right? So in n equal to 1, the q that you are getting is actually q to the power 8. So that is why it just becomes 1. Hence I have just set it to poly of 0. Poly of 0 means the coefficient basically, and then I have just returned the array. In the other case, a and b are kind of like x and y in our previous discussion. I have separated my coefficient vector into two halves. Then I call the calc function again. Notice how I have put q into q here and q into q here as well. After I generate these two arrays, notice that they will be of length n by 2. and then I formulate my ARR again. ARR is basically the return array that contains all the actual coefficient, or rather actual evaluated values. We again calculate this using our normal method how we had shown previously, essentially this formula right here. And then just to save memory, we delete all the redundant arrays and then we just return ARR. Otherwise you will get a memory limit exceeded. So this is almost the same thing as fast Fourier transforms and number theoretic transforms. In fast Fourier transform you use a complex number instead of this q value. So essentially q there is a nth root of unity. So this was the solution for the problem. Hope you liked it. That's it for today. Thank you.